Hello, this is Trena with John's Furniture Repair, and I'm in the shop today with this cabinet. Unfortunately, it's not in for a full restoration, but this is a video where I'm going to show you what we do with pieces that have been water damaged. So it was sitting in some water, so we need to address the base. This blanket. And that way the base will be elevated somewhat. Here we go. Okay, so this is a really cool cabinet. You can see it's put together with dovetail joints, but you can see the issues here. We've had water damage. The base has been sitting in water up to there. So basically the whole thing's got mold. Unfortunately, we've lost some veneer here. So we'll need to replace or do some patches here. But first of all, we need to get this mold out of here because I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to grab a mask and I'll show you what product I use to get rid of that mold. Okay, so I'm going to use Concrobium. Anyways, it is just an anti-mold and mold control solution. You can use alcohol, but you need to keep it wet for a long time. This you have to dampen everything down. So I'm going to spray it and douse it with this stuff, and then I'm going to leave it there and to dry overnight. Okay, so we'll just let that dry overnight, and then tomorrow morning we can give it a wash and start working on these repairs. Alrighty, so I've got those two under clamps, and because I'm my father's daughter, I'm going to fix the drawers because those giant veneer chips are bothering me very much, and they're just going to get worse if I leave them, and then I'll have to blame myself. So yeah, I'm going to take these out and fix these chips as well. It'll be a little bit difficult. And then I think we'll get a couple of the other little pieces put back in place and make sure the edges are glued down because that's due to water damage. That's part of the repair. I have kind of saved a few chunks of the veneer that I had to peel off that were okay, just in case we can use some of the original veneers to repair. All right, so now that I've got those veneer repairs done and got them kind of leveled off, this veneer is a little thicker, so I have to sand this down. I'm going to scrape off the finish on this whole side, give a nice sand so that we can get everything matching nicely. And on the sides, there's no veneer, but there's some discoloration from the water damage, so we'll give these a healthy sand as well. The drawers are coming along pretty good. I was in here last night, giving them a nice extra bit of work before bed, which is nice when you have your shop right outside your home. So this here, I like to do this on curves with my curved veneer surface. I use a sanding block with some tape on it, and that kind of evens out the pressure along the edge, just as long as you can get some clamping pressure. You can use a lot of different ways to do this. Like you can use bendy plywood as well, which I have in the past. But anyways, take a look how this one turned out. And what I'm doing is kind of overlapping the veneer onto the new veneer piece onto the old one, and when I sand it, it kind of feathers into the new piece and it sands off the excess and it levels it out. So that's the easiest way I've found, rather than having a seam. So that looks really good. Nicely stuck down. A little piece here. So I just have this one section here left to do. And then I'm gonna actually get some glue under all this edge because it's all lifting. So that doesn't happen anymore. The other one is, I think, same thing, it needs to have the whole edge glued down as well. So we'll do that as our final glue up. This here looks pretty good. I just had a bit extra to glue down on the edge here. And that's where I'm gonna feather it into the old stuff. So we'll give that a sand too. Okay, so I've got it all sanded, just a couple of putty spots drying. So I'm gonna pop these neoprene gliders on just to lift it off the floor a little bit. And this front is supposed to be an apron, so you just attach them to the sides. Okay, so before we flip this thing on to its feet again, we're just going to give it a coat of shellac to seal in anything that wasn't killed. So we're just going to go in with a clear shellac and coat everything that isn't the front of this base, the underside, everything, just so it's all sealed up down here.
And though rainfall amounts in Canada are predicted to be much less, authorities are urging people in Montreal and Ottawa to prepare.
Okay, so I'm just taking a look at color now, and this is the original color with just the shellac on it. And I've been looking at a few colors, and this is a new color I'm trying from Gowdy. Looks pretty good. It's called Brandy. So I'm gonna be just putting that on the new patches. These guys, and then on a couple of areas where I had to do some patches with some putty and a couple of the repairs on the sides, I'll add that color there too so we can get a nice match. And I'm thinking about the drawers because there's so much work on them. I think I'm just gonna take all of this finish off, do a nice new finish, put a coat of shellac on, give it a buff down. I think that'll look the best. You're gonna see a lot of me doing a lot more brushed on finishes, as I don't want to spray as much as possible in this small shop. But this is a perfect candidate for brushed on finishes because we're just doing little areas. Of course, tables and stuff, it's not really my favorite method. So let's get some color on these spots.
Composers that she started late, really late when it comes to musical training. 18, in fact. And yet she has risen to the very pinnacle of American classical music. More on her right after your news.
From CBC News, The World This Hour, I'm Julianne Hazelwood. Toronto police say they're not aware that...
All right, so now that we've got the color on there, I'm gonna put a coat of shellac over the whole thing, and you'll be able to see how good of a color match that is. With the original. This has no color on it whatsoever, and this is our stain piece. So not too bad. It looks like it needs a little bit more yellow. Just from what I'm seeing here, which is fine. Usually new veneers need more yellow. So I'll just put a whole coat on this base here, on the whole guy, but it's looking pretty good, in the right direction. And then we'll just probably do a little bit of toner with a light walnut toner from Mohawk, just to shift it a little bit more. All right, so we've got her back on her feet and looking pretty good. That one's, the veneer pattern kind of sticks out a little bit. I might work with that. Anyways, the rest of the cabinet is in pretty rough shape, especially the top. A hutch does sit on here, so it's mainly this area here that we're going to be seeing, and there's quite a bit of scratching going on right here. Yeah, so I'm just gonna give it a quick wipe down and give it a beeswax over, as we're not dealing with the entire cabinet, but we'll make it look a little better than this. So I'm gonna go get a bucket of water, and I'm just gonna use, where do I got it? I think I'll just use Murphy's oil soap right here, which is just really gentle because the finish is pretty degraded and I don't want to do anything tougher than that. So I'll just mix that in. Actually, this is mixed with water, so I'm just going to get a bucket to rinse my rag, and it'll probably look better. It's got a lot of dirt, you know, in the corners, stuff kind of dripped on the side. I just don't want to seal that in with the beeswax, so we'll get that off to the races. And the drawers are coming along nicely. This one's looking pretty good. The green pattern isn't quite matching on some of my patches, but I think it's good for something that they didn't even want me to address. So yeah, everything's looking pretty good. Just got the underside of this one under glue and still working on getting that all fixed up. So let me go get a bucket of water. All right, so I've got a lot of beeswax on everything. I'm just gonna let it soak. It's so dry. These sides are just soaking it up by the ton. So I'm gonna let that sit on there for a few hours before I wipe off any excess. Okay, so it's the next day and this oil has completely soaked in. Like, it was so thirsty. The top was really, really bad and the sides were so thirsty. Anyways, looking good now. We've got all those veneer chips repaired. Can't even see, looking good. And on the other side, there were a few as well. So those are looking good. Just one drawer left that I'm working on here. I got all of the top veneer glued down, and then the bottom lip was also all loose, so that's all glued down. And we have a couple of our patches here and over here. So I think this just needs a little bit more color, then we can do the final coat of shellac, beeswax it, and we're done. And there it is, all finished up, looking very much more put together and still rustic in a lot of ways, but shining its beauty through. The most amazing part to me is how this decal shadow has disappeared almost completely with the beeswax and the clean. And also these scratches. They're still there, but you really, can't see them. They don't stick out. They don't wreck the piece like they were doing before. And all the sides are looking so much more moisturized, and the veneer patches are looking good. We did a lot of those on the drawers. So really, really nice. Not my best blending work with the veneer patches, but not too bad. And we did all the work on the base as well, and we've got it sitting up off the floor so none of that veneer ever catches again. And of course I just cleaned up everything and dusted the inside and all that jazz as well. So thank you so much for joining me on this first project back after a bit of a sabbatical from furniture repair. I'm really excited for this year, the rest of this year, and the things that are coming up. And I'm working on my giant list of people for my board of the Shop by the People. And I'm happy to tell you guys that me and Olympia Steel have reached an amicable settlement, and we are moving forward in that way. So I'm really thankful to the company for working with me and for getting that deposit back to me. So that will really help in the end with the bills. So thanks so much, guys, for more than watching this video, for being a part of this community, and for supporting me in so many ways. And I'm so happy to be back fixing furniture. So we'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Okay, so I have ordered a $13,000 spray booth, and it's in Manitoba, and it would never fit in here. So in the meantime, I've made this situation, and I'll just show you what it is. It's basically the biggest fan I could buy at Princess Auto, and it does move quite a bit of air. And I've built a frame around it and done double filters on 3 sides. So basically, I've just got it on a rolly cart so I can move it around, and I've wired up a plug so I can just plug it in whenever I need to use it. Usually they're supposed to be hardwired, but this works for the situation. So let me show you when I'm gonna spray, what I gotta do. So you see these 2 big styrofoam panels here. I've attached them to my garage with tape because I didn't want to put holes in my garage. So when I want to spray, I just come over here, unhook the panels, lift them up, pop those into the groove, down, and then this just fits right into the groove. So yeah, easy. It'll work for now, and I just basically pop this over to a plug-in, and off she goes. Probably couldn't see it, but it is doing a good job of evacuating the air. So I can just take that all off when we're ready to get into our big shop with the actual spray booth, which I'm really excited to get to because this is, you know, not the best situation, but it'll do. So you'll see that in action in the videos.